Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at another of these Mcfarlane Toys Raw 10 figures, and this time we are looking at the Battlesnake. There did seem to be a pretty positive feedback when it came to Raptor, and a lot of people that did seem to want to see more from this line, so here we are now with the Battlesnake. At first glance, you can see that overall it looks extremely cool. Of course, it's going to be hard to have a figure like this that's made of half of like a real animal type of an appearance and half of a mechanical animal appearance. That's not going to look cool. You're probably not going to find that. And I think Mcfarlane Toys has done an absolutely incredible job on the sculpt of this one, just like the Raptor figure. So I'm super excited to get this out of the package and take a look at it with you guys. As far as the actual packaging goes, you can see a really nice image of the Battlesnake right down there at the bottom, and then Raw 10 on the packaging pretty much all over, and then here on the back, again, some information on the Battlesnake, another really cool image of the Battlesnake, as well as some images of the other figures that are in the line. So let's go ahead and break this open and take a look at it right now. So straight away, we get another really cool little booklet like we did with the Raptor figure. Again, a really nice image of the Battlesnake here on the front. And then once you open it up, you see the same images that you had seen on the previous booklet with kind of these images of the different figures in like comic book style artwork. Actually, I'm opening that the wrong way. But on the back, you can again see all of the Raw 10 figures and some really cool images of each, as well as more information on the Battlesnake. And then if we turn it around, we have an absolutely incredible looking poster that is included of the Battlesnake kind of fighting the Raptor figure that we previously reviewed, and it looks unbelievably cool. Again, something that I feel like really brings me back to my childhood as far as types of things like this that would have been included in toys when I was a kid, and I really love that they include that in these figures here. And then here is the Battlesnake, and it looks extremely cool out of the packaging. This one has a really cool kind of a bluish wash to it as opposed to the darker green wash that we had seen on the Raptor figure. And you can see that snake is all twisted and contorted in a really interesting way to keep it into the packaging there. But overall, again, super flashy looking at first glance, really cool and striking. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of our Battlesnake, you can see some beautiful skin texture up here in the head. Very nicely done. Again, giving it a really beautiful appearance in that nice kind of darker wash with like that. It's kind of tough to tell if it's a blue or a purple actually now up close. It almost looks purple in certain aspects, but in certain areas like down here on the body, it looks more of a blue. I don't know if it's a mixture of both, who knows, but you can see that the head and the skin texture of the head looks really nice. You can see some beautiful scales up here on the head of our Battlesnake as well. Down here in the face, you can see how really nicely done the eye is, kind of bordered and given a nice darker coloration around the eye, and then a really beautiful green eye. The area around the eye actually does definitely look purple, so I'm starting to think that the wash is more of a purple than a blue, but you can also see that the eye is glossed really nicely, so it shines quite realistically. Here in the mouth, you can see the tongue sticking out, as well as quite a bit of the teeth of our Battlesnake, very nicely done as far as those fangs go, and even the kind of gums are colored and painted there. You can see the teeth on the inside of the mouth are actually a little bit kind of bunched together as far as the paintwork goes, but they are nicely done as far as being in a beautifully straight line, so it doesn't appear to be sloppy from a distance, but up close you can see that the paint isn't picture perfect, but it's definitely not bad by any means. It's actually quite nice looking. The tongue as well looks really cool, painted with a reddish coloration, and even the tongue actually appears to have kind of a wash to it, like a darker black wash on the tongue, something along those lines. The jaw is articulated just like it was on Raptor, where it doesn't close all the way. You can see that's as far closed as it goes, but it does open further, so that's pretty cool, at least that it does have some articulation. And then looking at the inside of the mouth, you can see some more really nice detail, and they're all painted again with that really nice coloration that they've chosen. It's like a pinkish type of a color, and also does appear to be a bit glossy in certain aspects and certain lights, so the mouth is really, really well done. If you look here on the underside of the snake, we now have that very cool appearance to that mechanical type of a look, almost like a cyborg type of a look to this snake, and it is absolutely beautifully done. And the colors that they give it continuously with this gray is like that perfect kind of metallic type of a look, so it really, really looks extremely, extremely nicely done, very realistically done. And just like with the previous one, you can kind of see like some darker washes included here and there within the mechanical areas to bring that detail out quite nicely, but just generally make it look extremely realistic. And the sculpt work within the mechanical areas is just mind-bogglingly good. You can see every area is just so beautifully sculpted. Incredible work there in that area of this snake. But if you even look here at the back, look at how awesome that looks as far as the detailing goes. Really beautiful sculpt and detail on the back of the head of the snake as well. Very similar as far as like these scoots kind of that run down the snake to what we had seen on Raptor on the top of the Raptor's head. But then you have some nicer scales right here, and then some really fine scales that move out here onto the side of the snake. And I think it all looks extremely well done. Absolutely gorgeous sculpt work, again, brought out with that kind of purplish or bluish wash. And then as we move down the neck, you can see these really big scales here, now almost scoot-like scales, and then they transition down here to now more of a scaly snake type of a look to the back of the snake, and it looks really, really nice. And again, this is that area where you can see how incredible it looks thanks to that dark wash, and this snake actually is like a plastic up here. Once we hit this point, it transitions now to a rubber. Initially, when I had seen this in the store, I was really kind of hoping that it was going to actually have like a wire included, similar to the Rebor Titanoboa, but it definitely does not. It is actually just a rubber snake, which is still really cool. It allows you to have some ability to move it around and stuff. And then as we run back along the snake, you can continue to see just how incredibly well done the detailing of the snake is, and how nice it looks with that kind of a darker wash included on the underside. You do also have that dark wash included in certain areas, but it's not quite as strong as we saw on the upper side. But the detailing of the underside of the snake looks beautiful as well, but the upper side is just absolutely sculpted to the max. And the sculpt and detail looks almost the same the entire way out, but you can see like along here it's kind of wide, and the further back into the snake it gets, it tends to get really thin as we run out to the tail here. And if we look at the tip of the tail, you can now see that it transitions back to that kind of mechanical type of a look, and that as well looks really, really cool. Definitely a very nicely done sculpt overall. Just like the Raptor figure, this figure is just sculpted to the complete max in every possible way. Super cool, again, idea on the part of Mcfarlane Toys to come out with these really neat looking, kind of half mechanical, half animal type of a toy line with this Raw 10 line, and it's something that I am just instantly super sold on and head over heels in love with pretty much at this point. And this snake is just as awesome as the Raptor figure was. Another really, really cool release from the Raw 10 Mcfarlane Toys line. Again, as far as articulation goes on this one, the only thing that we have is the jaw, and then again the body is like a rubber, so you can move it around and stuff, but there's no other real articulation or anything with this snake. As far as the size goes, for a length, we can't stretch the body out because it kind of stays in this position. I mean, I could probably pull it out, but that would just be weird, and it would be impossible to measure if I were to hold that out, then try to hold two sides of the tape measure. But we'll just measure a length from this point here, and you're going to see it at about 8 inches roughly, or around the 20 centimeter range, 20.5 centimeters. It's kind of tough to tell exactly because, again, it's all curled up. And then for a height, about 6.5 inches, or about 16.5 centimeters. And once again, like I stated, it could be potentially a lot longer because you can stretch the body out. If you move this out, you can pull the body out pretty far. So there's a very big difference as far as a length then in comparison to this. But as it just sits here, if it were just displayed on a shelf, then this is about the length that you would probably find it at. As far as a size comparison goes, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, who looks like he's potentially giving that snake a kiss on the cheek. And then we also have the Attack Pack Colovosaurus and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our Battlesnake. And you should have a pretty good idea next to these figures that, again, this snake, just like the Raptor figure, is quite large. Although the snake is definitely larger than the Raptor figure overall as far as the height and definitely length goes if you stretched it out. but hopefully you'll have a pretty good idea looking at it next to these figures of the fact that it is actually quite large. And then for another size comparison, here it is with the Raptor figure, and actually looking at the two next to each other, maybe it's not bigger than I thought. It's not taller than the Raptor figure like I initially had thought it was. It's probably actually right about the same size, honestly. It's very, very similar, but as far as the overall body mass goes, I think it's safe to say that the Snake is a little bit larger, but not by too much. It's actually the same price point as the Raptor figure, so the $10 range, so that would probably mean they should be right around the same size, I guess, but the Snake is definitely a little bit bigger. So this Mcfarlane Toys Raw 10 Battlesnake figure is another awesome release from this line. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope and pray that they release more figures in the future, because these 4 that I have so far from this line are absolutely incredibly cool. And this Battlesnake is just another perfect example of how cool this toy line is. Overall, you could see a really nice detailed appearance, like very highly detailed appearance, to the actual skin texture of the snake in every possible way. This thing is so super detailed, it is ridiculous. And then when you turn it around and look at the underside of the snake and look at the kind of mechanical area, you could see that it is just insanely highly detailed on this side as well. The actual mechanical areas of these figures is just off the charts as far as the detailing goes, if you ask me. But again, I love the fact that they've included washes on both sides. You can see a grayish wash, a dark gray in the mechanical area, and then like a purplish or a bluish gray in the skin textured type area. And I think both were a really nice choice and really helped to add a good level of realism to the figures, even though it's completely unrealistic in general, but it does help to make them look more alive and more real. Including those washes makes them look a lot more legit, if you ask me, and I think that the inclusion of the wash was an absolutely awesome choice, and definitely one of the things I think that really drew me to the figures in the first place was just how good they looked overall as far as the actual paintwork. Again, it's not your most realistic coloration, I would say, for a snake, but it does look really, really cool on the figure, and I think the actual paintwork overall was beautifully done, just like it was on the Raptor figure here on this Battlesnake. I think they've done a great job as far as painting it and not making it have any type of sloppiness, because I didn't see sloppy paint at all on this figure. Kudos to the Raw 10 line for providing us with really nicely sculpted and detailed figures, but also really nicely painted figures, because this is 2 for 2 now as far as the actual sculpt and paint on the Raw 10 figures that I think was just absolutely gorgeous in every possible way. So this is another very high recommendation from me. If you like the Raptor figure, I really do recommend going out and picking up this Battlesnake figure as well, because both are just off the charts as far as the awesomeness level goes. Really, really cool stuff continuously here with this line, and I'm super excited to take a look at the other 2, which the other 2 are the bigger figures in the bunch, so we'll get to those next. But this Battlesnake, definitely a really awesome figure, definitely a big recommendation from me. So make sure you head to your local Walmart, pick this guy up, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.